Hey guys, welcome back to the final part of Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis, and we are in Scrap Brain Zone again. Yeah. I like
there's how do you guys feel about, there being like 3 acts to every zone?
Not a fan. It's too much. I feel like each zone overstates its welcome.
Like 3, I don't really mind if it's 3 act. It's when there's more of it. It gets compounded when like the zone is like really frustrating to deal with. But like, 3s tends to be like a good number. You can get like used to it, and then sort of like you learn the tricks of the stage so that when you get to like zone 3, like the third version of it, they're like, okay, I know how this works.
The third zone isn't as obnoxious in the earlier levels because that's typically like a short lead into the Robotnik boss battle. But like, I feel like they just get too long as you go on. And I don't know, this is why I like Sonic 2 so much more. And it's also incidentally why I think Metropolis Zone is the worst zone in that game because it has 3 acts and just
how many levels are there in this first Sonic game? I've sort of lost track of how many how many zones.
I believe it's like 7 or
okay,
so.
Yeah, I think
Sonic 1's the one I played the
in
least.
Sonic 2, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Like I feel like that, like you sort of said, I feel like it just like it lets you have more interesting visually, like just having like all these sort of being able to go from different visual styles quicker, I think is like a good thing.
Yeah,
but they do better in Sonic 2, right?
And here in Sonic 1, like, they have fewer levels but more zones.
Did that bot just kill itself?
It's sort of disappointing. They just see, just the sheer sight of Sonic terrifies them. I must go. My planet needs me.
Yeah. Well, they're self-destructing, and those little chunks come off.
Wait, did Sonic just phase through that fire? Sorry, I think I missed that. Oh,
you played this game, man. You tell us.
No, I saw that. I just caught it now. Like, was that a frame rate thing, or like, because he definitely didn't get hit by that fire.
There's 3 games I want to ask you guys as Sonic fans, like what if you've played.
I'm just gonna say I'm not sure if I would necessarily call myself a Sonic fan.
Okay.
Like those games, yeah.
Okay.
One of us. One of us.
Okay, so the first one is like, this is kind of funny. The Sonic Classroom kids game.
Never played it.
No, but I've seen it.
My parents got it for me when I was a kid, and I swear, like I don't remember a lot of things from that game. All I remember, it was really, really creepy in the sense because it was empty. Like, you go like. There was a bunch of classroom stuff. It was first person, but it was just like in that really old polygonal style, and it was just like nothing really stood out. It was just Sonic characters occasionally around, but you never really got to do anything with them.
Was Sonic the teacher in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it looking pretty creepy. I'm like, okay, you might be a good teacher, but I wouldn't let him near my kids. Like, it's just, yeah. So it was such a weird concept. But then again, Mario had like what, teaching type or something?
Well, there's also this game called Mario is Missing, which is this game where you are like going back in time to like various, or I don't know if you're going back in time. You're going to various like cities, and it's almost like it's a Carmen Sandiego, but like Mario themed.
Oh, Carmen Sandiego. That was a fun show.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I assume that at least one of you guys have played Sonic CD, so I'm not going to have to.
I actually have not played Sonic CD.
Okay, Sonic CD is probably my favorite 2D Sonic game.
That's a pretty widely shared sentiment, I would say. It's usually between that or Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have either of you guys played Sonic R?
Yes.
I was hoping so. I was actually thinking earlier today. I was like, I should bring up Sonic R.
Everybody's Super Sonic Racing.
Of Sonic.
So do I. I still have it somewhere.
Yeah, I've also still got it somewhere. That game is so bad. I played through it.
I love it. I really love
that game. Is awful.
I say we do a multiplayer run of it.
Everybody's Super
Sonic Racing. Oh God, yeah. That's.
That game was bad. I'll admit it, but I loved it.
I remember like playing that game at the time and thinking like really wanting that game to be good to the point where I was sort of like, I knew it was bad, but was playing it and sort of thinking about good things about it. Like I was sort of like, yeah, I don't like this, but like, this is kind of cool and that's all right. And it's a cool idea.
If I squint my eyes hard enough, it looks like a racing game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the idea of like, I think the core of it is sound. Like the idea of, hey, this is a Sonic game and you're just gonna like foot race these people, I think is like, that's a cool idea.
Well, it was much better than what Sonic Drift did and put like everyone in a car.
What's Sonic Drift again?
It's like what? Oh, Sonic Drift was a sort of like early Mario Kart where like the.
You mean like Sonic Riders?
No, Sonic Riders was
a snowboarding game, right?
It was like a hoverboard game, Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders had some good things to it. It wasn't a perfect racing game by any means, but like it was definitely entertaining. Sonic R was fun just because like you got to see like you got to race as like different Sonic characters on a 3D.
And the dolls.
Oh, what? You mean the Tails doll?
The Tails doll. Isn't there like also like a Knuckles doll too?
I think there was like Mecha Knuckles or something, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna rock a wiki.
A good Sonic racing game is Sega Sonic All-Star Racing, which is like
it's great.
A very competent Mario Kart.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
It's surprisingly good, yeah.
It's good. It actually like plays
twice.
really nicely, and the levels are cool. There's like some really nice shout-outs to like Sega history kind of stuff, and
like I know there's Sega to Soundshiros in there.
Yeah.
There's like a House of the Dead level, which is cool.
Yeah.
I think you can play. I guess I know in the tennis Sonic games, which again, like those
Not
like
bad.
Sega / Sonic or like Sega All Stars Tennis or whatever. Like again, pretty good games actually, and those games have like you can play as characters from Jet Set Radio, which will always be bonus points for me. Like
finals. Yeah, I wonder what happened there. They might like, oh no, sir, we've run out of budget for the titles. What do we name the final zone?
Final zone.
No, it's good. It's got some
Batman a
gravity to it. You know, it's like, hey, no fancy names. It's the final one.
It's the
Here
final
it is.
zone. Yeah, no fucking around. Like that's
and
it.
and you have no rings.
I don't think I've ever seen this before, actually.
Fun fact about this boss: if you manage to hit Robotnik twice on the final hit, his hit counter resets to 255, and it's impossible to beat him at that point. Yeah, it's
That's messed up.
It's a glitch that Sonic Sonic Retro I think published that glitch, but I'm not sure if they were the ones who originally found it. But yeah, it's interesting. So
Okay, and the last game I want to ask you guys if you've played, because I actually despise the game a lot. Sonic Shuffle.
Sonic Shuffle was a terrible game.
wait, Dan, did you own it? Because you had a Dreamcast.
I did
I
own
used
it,
to-
and
I
I
used to
think
own
I
it.
still own it, but I also might have gotten, like, I might have sold it, but I'm actually pretty sure I still have my copy of it.
Oh, Mario
Boy,
Party. That is.
we could
not.
capture ourselves playing that game.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
God.
I'd be so down to try that.
What I
Oh,
did
man.
was
Sonic
I
Shuffle
actually
is so bad.
it came with my Dreamcast back in the day, and I had it up until recently because I mean, like you guys, like when Professor Alexander left, like the video game prof, like I gave it to him.
Really? That's
before
cool.
he went to Humber, because like not because out of spite, because I love the guy, but like
Yeah, he's a great
Yeah.
when I had class with him. Him and I would actually get into a debate because he loves that game for some reason, and I'm just like, no, it's terrible. But he never owned it, but he loves the game, and I'm just like, when he left, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna give it to you because you can have it.
Wait, we're talking
I
about
remember
Sonic
when I was a
Shuffle.
kid, I thought that game was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And here we go. Robotnik's dead. Is he dead? Does he have a final form?
dead? I don't know. Will Robotnik ever die?
I mean, Robotnik never dies.
Yeah, that's it.
I was thinking about Sonic Shuffle though. Oh wait, what?
The heck? Oh, is it Mulan?
Mulan?
Mulan, yeah, because he says that's the part where he says you missed. How could you miss? He was 3 feet in front of you, and what you can do is actually hit Robotnik. And
okay.
I felt like such a chump for missing him on my first play because I totally forgot you could do that. And I'm like, oh no,
So
I
what
gotta
happens
show
in this
that.
game if you get all the Chaos Emeralds?
They disappear.
What disappears?
The Chaos Emerald, at this point, when Sonic stops, he pulls out the Chaos Emeralds out of nowhere, and they just disappear into existence. And then he just
Well, that
jumps,
sucks.
and it's like, yeah, you collected all the Chaos Emeralds, but it means jack shit.
I know that like Sonic 2 has sort of like a true ending that you get from doing the chaos. Like you do, like you go like Supersonic and you do all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, you become Supersonic, and Tails doesn't catch you after you fall from the Death Egg. Spoilers. But like, people don't like that ending generally because it's like, what's the point of Tails? You just
That's
fly
funny. I
beside
didn't know
him.
that people had like strong thoughts over
It's a
the
thing, man.
endings of 16-bit era Sonic games.
Nah, man, they're like, no, that can't be canon. But he has all the Chaos Emeralds. Of course it's canon. Oh, conflict. But
do people like, is that a thing? And like, do Sonic fans talk about the canonness of the 16-bit Sonic games?
Dan, Sonic fans are loyal to a fault. Like they get way too passionate about it, and like I get it, but
listen, people are gonna be passionate about what they're passionate about. Yeah. I'm not trying to shame anyone for that. That's fine, but it's it just seems a little crazy.
Not really. But in the case of Sonic, it's somewhat warranted just because like you have some Sonic games that take place in the human world and some that don't, and there's some where just like it's a mishmash of the two, and it makes absolutely no sense. So just like, what is canon in Sonic anymore? That's actually why I found Sonic Generations kind of hilarious, because it's like they're insisting Sonic has a canon.
This is like one of those things where a lot of people talk about like get really into Legend of Zelda and talk about like, oh my god, when do these games happen? And at some point the timeline splits and there are things that happen, and then Nintendo put out the Hyrule Historia as if they actually care. And like the thing is, it's like, yo, that's not the point.
Only Metal Gear, only Hideo Kojima can pull that sort of thing off and make it feel cohesive. But that's because
Metal Gear is like totally insane all the time and is like a game that is like, or a series that is like pretty plot focused.
Try again.
Yeah. We
made an equitable split. Yeah, we made an equitable split between the Chaos Emeralds. Like, cool, Robotnik, you take these 3, I'll take these 3, and we'll call it a day. Like,
what if the remaining 1? Because there's 7 of them.
No, in this game there's only 6.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that's the argument why there is no like Super Sonic in this game. It's like, nah, Sonic needs 7. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
The argument is that they didn't think about it, so they didn't put it in the game.
So yeah, so he didn't even try.
All right, so we beat that game.
Yeah, hey. So actually, I know it's over, but what were you guys' thoughts on seeing the very first Sonic game?
I mean, like, besides Green Hill Zone, it's not as I remember it. And it made me realize something that, perhaps I remember Sonic 2, I guess, a bit more vividly than I remember Sonic 1. But, like, I guess Sonic 1 had Green Hill Zone as its most memorable stage because it actually let you run around and then could kind of shit on you for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I'm actually really astounded by I commented on this in one of the other videos, but like just how sort of slow it is, and also just kind of like dull. Like it's a good looking game, but like it's not nearly as vibrant. Like Sonic 2 is like way more colorful, and I feel like maybe that's just a case of it being a new console and them like knowing how to sort of unlock the powers of it a little bit better a couple years down the line. But like Sonic 2 has like a vibrancy to it that Sonic 1 doesn't really have. A lot of the colors in Sonic 1 are like way more muted. Mm-hmm. They don't really pop as well.
I don't think Sonic 1 has aged well as the other classic Sonic games. But for me, Sonic 1 is sort of like the original Mario Brothers. Like it's fine. Like it gets the job done as a solid video game platformer. But the sequels are just so much better. And like it doesn't. And there's not too much of a reason to go back to the first game unless other than curiosity's sake. And
I'd argue that like if you were going to compare it to Mario, there's quite a bit you can gain from going back to the original Mario. But
that's the thing, is like Mario 1 as a historical piece is like more valuable than Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is, in that like there's like level 1 is still taught as this like amazing moment of game design and like level design in terms of like teaching the player and doing all these sorts of things. Sonic 1 is kind of
okay, maybe a better comparison might have been like, although a little more obscure, would be Crash Bandicoot, since the first game was very basic. Crash didn't have all his move sets. It was clearly the first game of the series, but the other two games, Crash 2 and Crash 3, are sort of the Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 respectively.
It's funny it's funny because like I own like the original like PS1 Crash games, and I remember very, very little from them except for Crash Team Racing.
CTR was out of all the racing games, like even Mario Kart these days, like I will gladly go back to CTR first and just
I mean, I'm not big on kart racers, but I always thought CTR was pretty bad.
Blasphemy.